name is Law Nation. As the room fill up, be sure, and I mean just that, be sure to hit that like button. Let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. The name is Law Nation. Let's continue to grind and shine. One thing we all adore, something worth dying for. There's nothing but pain. We stuck in this game, searching for fortune and fame. Let's go. Come on.
He needs some milk. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up? What's good? Good afternoon and good evening to you and you. What's up, everybody? Really appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. All right, so still no days off. Y'all know how this goes, right? We still got news and information to talk about. I really appreciate you guys so much. Love y'all. You know, I hope all was well last night with you all and your loved ones and things like that. And we're going to get right to it. The Cowboys topic live for today. Hey, pay Trevon Diggs ASAP plus other options. We got wide receiver things that we need to take a look at. We got defensive interior that we need to take a look at. Running back situation and scenarios. Do you extend? Do you roll with Ezekiel Elliott? Do you figure out a way to sign Tony Pollard? I'm team. No franchise tag. I think that they should figure out a way. The salary cap is expecting to grow from year to year. Use that as leverage. Be wise with that. Shout out to you, Bob. Heck, thank you so much for the super chat there. I really appreciate you. Thank you. You just wanted to send some love. I feel you. Appreciate you, Bob. Bobby. Appreciate you, Bob. Thank you so much. And then, of course, Riggs, I'm getting too old for this stuff, Riggs. Y'all know how that goes. and we got to talk about my guy, the new general manager of this team. The new general manager is my guy, Micah Parsons. If you guys feel like Parsons is talking too much, let me know in the chat. But I would tell you guys that Parsons is doing his thing, man. He's trying to win. He want to win. And he's looking at this thing saying, these are the options on what he would do. And as the general manager, he's coming off like that, like these are the options that he would do. Appreciate y'all. Let's listen to what he have to say, and then we'll go into the detailings of my guy Trevon Diggs on my thoughts of everything. But these are the words uttered by Micah Parsons.
Right.
I'm with the people.
What are we missing in Dallas?
I feel like we're right there.
Right.
We're 2 plays away.
Yeah.
We're 2 or 3 plays away. I know it sounds cliche to always say it, and we just got to be more accountable, more aware, and then we got to go after in free agency too.
What areas?
I would like to see us get I like Deron Payne a lot.
more big bodies in the middle.
We got too many rushers.
Yeah, you got too many speed guys. It's something we talked about. It always worried me about you guys. Right.
I would love to get a big body corner out there. I hope we keep LV, and everyone else wants a receiver. We might as well get a receiver too.
All right, so that's Micah Parsons, the new general manager of this team. I mean, who would love that, though? You know, Parsons, let's go.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Disregard everything, baby. Everything else you can disregard, and you can just say, hey, man, hey, at least we have somebody that can think outside of the box, right? Versus, hey, the cap. And those things where I'm telling you guys, the salary cap itself increases year to year. It's going to go up crazy, especially when that $111 billion, man, of Amazon deal come through the table. Let me tell y'all, man, look, Amazon doing something special, man. You can order a cup of coffee and it will be here within 20 to 30 minutes if you're in certain areas. You will have somebody to knock on the door before I can get up and walk to the door. It just be sitting on the doggone bench. You know what I mean? Amazon is a real thing. This world, look, you can order just about anything and everything. And speaking of that, you know, let me just use Amazon. I got a store over here on Amazon. You can get a CD Lamb helmet right now. Just go over to my website over here on Amazon. Get the same keyboard, get the same setup that I got over here. Amazon is doing something special. And let me put that right there. Boom. You know, so there you go. Check out Law Nation's Amazon store. I'm on Amazon, baby, and I'm on the Fire Stick too, Law Nation Sports, so you can watch my content commercial free there. So, granted, $111 billion, man. So the salary cap is increasing. And he said that he want big boy down inside. He said he's a man of the people. Parsons is literally one of us banging on the table saying we need big boys down inside. We need another DB on the opposite side of Trevon Diggs. And, hey, shoot, we might as well get a wide receiver while we at it. Not James. Y'all said with me, Washington. You know, we need that. Christopher Blunt said he ain't speaking for him, but collectively, you know, we talking about the man of the people, you know, so we talking about the collective. And I look at it like, and then I know some of y'all, let me throw this out there. Hey, man, you know, the Cowboys need another quarterback. I feel y'all on that. But right now you got to make ends meet with what you got. There's no way we can move on from that, right? So did we get that all out the way, right? Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yeah, my guy Jeffrey. Yeah, Washington. You know, how you doing, man? Get us some help is what he's saying, basically. Because here's what we don't want to happen. We don't want him to be like this. We don't want him to be that way. We want him to continue to do this. Rise. Elevation for the nation. Without hesitations. The situation would be get more players around him. Now, defensive tackle, I like to build from the inside out. And he said he would like for LVE to stay. That means you got to pay LVE some coins or what have you. LVE for the last 2 years improved on the latter part of the year, right? LVE, let's just put it out here like this. September LVE is trash, right? But the first month of the year, That LVE is trash, right? That's my first time saying it. Trash. But then when the middle part, like October, November here, sure, LVE become better and better. That joker get good, don't he? Don't he, y'all? Yes, indeed. Santos says, it says Dak is trash. I hate to say it, though. Yeah, I feel you, fam. Look at Santos. Yeah, I know. But my guy Jay Lombardi says Gibbs is a Pollard 2.0. What round was Tony Pollard drafted in? Right? Let me know. But I like to build from the inside out. Build from the inside out, and then that would allow you to have other guys to be even better. For example, my guy, LVE, we seen when they got a chance to get a big defensive tackle inside, his game improve. We know for sure that when you have pressure and you can, he was round 4, appreciate you. So I'm not saying you look for, or was he round 3? Y'all help me out now. Was it 3rd round or who got it right? Is it 3rd round? Was he a 3rd round or was he a 4th round draft pick? I don't want to go to my Googles. But it would be hard pressed to replace him with another running back in the 3rd and 4th round out of this draft. I think most of those running backs will be gone. But let me get to my point before I veer off too far, and I'm going to drive back into this lane over here. My thoughts is you get a better defensive tackle, it would help Parsons eat on the edge. It would even help DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams. It would help everybody else out, Osa. And then you got to say to yourself, Hankins, can we bring you back for another cup of coffee, right? Can we, my guy BD Gray, he says, yes, 100% it's the 4th round. Okay, appreciate you, my dog, appreciate you. So he was drafted in the 4th round. All right, that's Tony Pollard. So what I'm saying is, number one, when you listen to Parsons' calculated conversation here, you listen to what he had to say.
No, I'm a man of the people for sure.
Right.
I'm with the people.
What are we missing in Dallas?
I feel like we're right there.
Right.
We're 2 plays away.
Yeah.
We're 2 or 3 plays away. I know it sounds cliche to always say it, and we just got to be more accountable, more aware, and then we got to go after in free agency too.
What areas?
I would like to see us get I like Deron Payne a lot.
More big bodies in the middle.
So that's what I wanted to stop it right there. More big bodies in the middle. And the reason why we're saying this is because this game is chess, not checkers, right? So we looking for those type of things. We got to be able to improve the inside so that everybody else can eat. And that could be said for the same with the offensive line, right? It seems as if, though, man, every year we got to draft an offensive line. Yeah, it's one of those things. Either you drafting another offensive line or you willing and dealing for one. You going out there, you're probing other teams. You're saying, okay, I'll bring you in. We're getting rid of a 3rd-round draft pick for a certain player. Or you just get lucky and pick up somebody from somebody else's practice squad and they make it. But 9 times out of 10, you can't get offensive linemen like that. Either you're going to draft for them early or you're going to pay the price, right? And if you think I'm lying, you know, the quarterback that lifted up that Lombardi trophy this past weekend, they re-solidified their offensive line. There were literally people saying, oh, okay, all right. And Antonio, he says, Law, you got a shout out for 105.3 The Fan Parsons video talking about Cooper yesterday. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to 105.3 The Fan as much as we utilize their services, man. I appreciate them for utilizing mine, you know. And trust me, I don't even need to shout out, man, because those boys, they work so hard, man. But shout out to them, and I love all what they do. Well, we may have difference of opinions, but, man, collectively, we are all on the same page. We want them, we want us, I meant to say, to win the bowl, right? That's what we want. That's what we want. Let me repeat, that's what we want, baby. So shout out to them. All right, so going back to Pat Mahomes and stuff, man, there's not another Pat Mahomes, right? I tried to put up the good fight to say, hey, the quarterback over here can do some similar things, but man, y'all shack me with the butter knife every time. Is somebody mad right now? That dude, Law, man, I can't stand him. He just said it again. Look, he did it again. He did it again. He mentioned, y'all. I love y'all so much, man. Y'all be ready to fight me right now. I can see Brandon right now. Like, you mother sucker, Here he go again. He telling his wife, his kids, everybody. Look, Law mentioned Pat Mahomes and Dak in the same sentences. I love y'all, though, man. And remember Hakeem and all of y'all, man, and Swayze and all of those boys. But what I'm saying is this right here. There's only one Pat Mahomes, right? But even with him, I've seen a Super Bowl where he threw 2 interceptions, right? Couldn't get a touchdown at all, and the final score was 9-31. Why? Because he didn't have an offensive line. And I gave y'all the whole analogy about the wet floor side and going back and to re-solidify that area. Hey, man, my guy says, yeah, you my dog, man, you my man, but they different, man. 2 things are not the same, right? Law, you be out your mind, man. You just got to stop saying it, man. That's what make them boys mad. But it's a complete situation. So as y'all began to smoke your cigarette, trust the tape, right? But it is what it is at this point. Listen, Linda. Linda, listen. What I'm saying, different circumstances. I'm trying to figure out how this team can get better. And I'm trying to figure out how this team can get better with Parsons and Trevon Diggs. And can we add more weapons? Look, as good as Parsons is, he need more weapons. As good as Trevon Diggs is, in my opinion, he need more weapons. And how do we do that? Solidifying the front. And going back over to the offensive side. Who's our best player on offense? I need to know from the chat so that we can coast into this conversation smoothly. Who's our best player on offense? I'm waiting for y'all. All right. DT says 88. CD Lamb is for my guy Jay Worthy. He says CD Lamb. Okay. Oh. Okay, I got one Dak. Okay. Pollard. Well, Pollard, he's not under well, we're gonna have to see what we can. Tony Lamb, okay. Tony Lamb. I like that name combined. Tony Lamb, okay. Pollard, CD, okay. Zach Martin. Appreciate the Zach Martin people out there, man. Yeah, I was watching my guy Scott show, I think last week, and they were saying, get rid of Zach Martin. I said, oh, hell no. All right, so overall, okay. All right, so let's break this down the best way possible. Because, and I see a lot of 88, shout out to you, Kenny. And I should have asked this question like this. Who is our best skilled player? Because offensive linemen are considered non-skilled players, right? So who's our best skilled player? It got to be CD Lamb or Tony Pollard. Some would say and argue, the chosen one said, Noah Brown. Is that you, Noah Brown? Are you up in here, man? Shout out to you, man. Is this Noah Brown, the chosen one? Noah Brown, I feel you, dog. All right, so CD Lamb, collectively, if I'm doing the collections, collectively, it's CD Lamb and Tony Pollard, right? Skilled players. Overall player, Zach Martin. So Dak will be your fourth option as the best player collectively from what y'all are saying. You know what I mean? That Dak is your fourth best option on this team. He's behind Zach Martin. He's behind CD Lamb and Tony Pollard. I feel y'all. I feel you. So what I'm going to say here is, how do we make all four of those guys better? Edmund Sharp. Let me see if I can get here to Edmund Sharp. He says best skilled player, CD, Tony Pollard. Okay, I feel you on that. All right. So how do we get those guys better? So even if you guys take the approach and say, okay, 4 is the issue. So how do we make all of those guys collectively better? First and foremost, the number one rule would be, I like to build from the inside out, right? Trenches on the outside. So I look at it like, we're going to need us a guard. Because now you're going to have to figure out what to do with, hear me out, Tyler Smith and Tyron Smith. Do you go into the year 2023 with the notion to say to yourself, Tyron Smith will be able to play 17 weeks, and Tyler Smith can stay at left guard the entire season? What's the levels of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? So we're going to have to say this to ourselves. What to do? What to do? With Tyler Smith. I didn't like Tyler Smith playing musical chairs at all. Guard, tackle, tackle, guard, tackle, guard. I didn't like that. You're a rookie, master one thing and be good at that. Matter of fact, master one thing and be great at that. I want levels of consistency. I truly believe with a consistent offensive line, you guys fell right into my thing that I'm trying to talk about right here. And I know I'm going to sound like an apologist, but hear me out. With a consistent offensive line, will that make 4 better? Yes or no? Feels good. I'm trying to see what my people are saying. This is an open Q&A. I should have put Q&A in the title. Lady Sim says yes. Okay. Yep. BD Gray says yep. Yep. Even Brandon somewhere down there, he's saying yes. He just didn't type it, man. oh, Sheila. She says yes. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of yeses, no nos. Okay. So a consistent offensive line makes 4 better. A consistent offensive line will make Roll Tide Gibbs better if we draft him, right? Yes or no, right? Because we can draft him in the second, right? So a consistent offensive line would make him better. Or, hear me out, a consistent offensive line will make Tony Pollard better if we keep Tony Pollard on this team. Now, we can't go into guessing. We have to solidify the line. Yeah. Yes. Ooh, that's a good one. That's an underrated super chat right there. Yes, we can't go into this thing guessing. Ooh. Okay, can't go into the guessing, right? Right? So the offensive line is the most important thing that we need to get out of this draft or free agency. That's the number one thing. Offensive line help and defensive line help. Those are your most important, because we already broke down, and I kind of got y'all into that mindset right now, that if you go get a guy like a Dayron, it would help Diggs, it would help Parsons, it would help LVE, and it would help Dayron Bland out. Woo! And now I went over to the fact that if you get an offensive line, it would also eliminate the inconsistency with the shuffling of the offensive linemen. Remember, 4 out of the 5 guys moved and played every position. We had to replace the center this past season. We had to replace the left guard to the left tackle to the right tackle, right? So that's a hard task to do. Shout out, kudos and credence to the Cowboys for being 12-5. Unbelievable, But I got y'all into saying that now if we improve the offensive line, see, I love it, y'all. I love it, y'all. Y'all agreeing with me. We improve the offensive line, that immediately make Dak better, right? Or help Dak to become better, right? Even it helps Tony Pollard or Gibbs or whoever else we draft as a running back, Tank Bigsby, the other guy, Zach Evans, was it Charbonnet? Oh, whoever we draft, it helped those guys out. And by helping those guys out, by helping 4 out, organically speaking, it's going to help CD Lamb out. Organically, speaking. So y'all are with me, and I love y'all for that, right? So next move, what would be the second move? And then we're going to get into the main course of the conversation with Trevon Diggs, but let's talk about, let's stay on offense. Who will be the next move, or what should be the next move the Cowboys do to better improve this team outside of the offensive line? See, we took the offensive line conversation and move it out off this conversation. We'll leave that offensive line, the rest of the offensive line talk. Maybe y'all can shoot that at my guy, the OC or Big Vach Lombardi, who love offensive line. I like offensive line. I don't love them. So, I love DB talk. So, but the next thing, y'all can shoot that around to all of the Cowboys circle. Maybe hit Brian Broaddus up with the offensive line. Right? We only going to give you guys surface level. We ain't going to get down inside. All right, so trade for Tyler Lockett. I like that option there. Why? Because now you got 2 guys that you can move inside the sliding out, and it's going to be hard to bracket cover those guys. And I like your rationale thinking. I like your thinking right there, Jay. All right, but outside of that, would you prefer a wide receiver in this draft? Right? It's the unknown. Right?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist. Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns, things we don't know that we don't know.
No doubt. So would you prefer, shout out to you, Darren, for the super chat, restructuring or extending Dak? I think both of those are the same, right? Restructure, you're going to have to spread some of that money and extend it. You're going to apply some to the cap, some against the cap, and you're going to have to do some type of extension. I think both of those are the same, right? I could be off, but I'm going to look it up for you, Pose. But I we'll say that piece because when I talk about that, people are going to make this a Dak Prescott show, and I don't want to go that way. But do we go with a known commodity versus an unknown commodity? Because if we draft a wide receiver with the 26th pick, the Dallas Cowboys select, who you going to go? Who are you going to go get? And will they be able to pick up the playbook, have enough confidence to walk into this room, to own the room, and to challenge Michael Gallup, to challenge Jalen Tolbert, to take over Simi Fehoko, to get enough reps? Because my thing is, I want a dog, man. We got our luxury pick last year with Jalen Tolbert, the young guy, the 3rd round draft pick, who one can argue had me doing all type of tape. If he would have went to a bigger school, he could have been in the 1st or the 2nd round. We stole him in the 3rd round. That type of conversation. I'm tired of it. I want something that I can put my hands on and say, okay, I know he can beat double team. I know he can take the top off the defense. I know that when it's time for him to catch a pass underneath, drag route, that he's going to nose the ball, see through the catch, take the hit, bounce off of him, get upfield. I don't want him to be like, the moment is too big. what's that guy, Coach 30? Pissed down his leg. I don't want that. Thomas, my guy, he says Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. I seen many mock drafts, and he was in the second round. So we can get our offensive lineman in the first, go get him in the second. But for dog sure, we can't wait beyond the fourth and the fifth round getting our running back, right? So the cutoff with the running back is in the third round. Yes or no? So that's why I look at it like this. If you're about winning now, then your Jalen Tolbert, your wide receiver that you drafted last year, he need to be getting those quality reps. Simi Fehoko, we need to know whether or not, he can play football. That's what we need to figure out. We got, until 15 to maybe 14 days before the NFL Combine, right? So the underwear Olympics, a lot of people, draft stocks is going to go up or down. But I appreciate you, Thomas. And we got a wager over here on the final word. Will Jalen Hyatt go first round if he runs a 4.2? That dude going in the first round. But I think some people from the area who watched all of his games, some people are saying that he's not a 4.2 guy. So I'm with the belief you can go get a known commodity. And here's my crazy thought of this. I'm crazy. I'm crazy today. We offer Trevon Diggs, and we're going to switch right on over to defense right now, an unbelievable salary. We offered Trevon Diggs the Tyron Smith deal. Trevon Diggs is 24 years of age, y'all. Or right at 24, just turned 24. He's still young. And I'm looking at, I want you guys to pay attention to this right here. Let me see if I can move it out the way. Bear with me. I want you guys to pay attention to this number right here. It's $228 million. That's the salary cap. Okay, hear me out. Put those butter knives down, okay? Don't shank me with it. And I know you can't see the rest of the number, but trust me, take my word for it, okay? It's that stone right here. Watch what happened, because I did this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and people didn't believe that this number would be that number, right? I'm the king of this stuff right here. And I promise you, I got receipts. You just got to go back and look at some of my older videos to detail it. All right, so this is the year 2023. Watch that number when it goes around to the year 2024. And this is why it's so important to follow the money, right? So it jumps to this number, $241 million. I'm going to pull this up again, get out my Sharpie. $241 million, right? Follow the money. That's the year 2024. Watch what happened in the year of 2025. Now, these are all speculation for the nation now. These are not set in stone, though, by the way. I just got to say this, But they have been so close to accuracy. You can bet your bottom dollar on this from Spot Rack. All right? So now this is the year 2025. It adjusted, the adjustments is $307 million. I know you can barely see that number, and I will make it look pretty post, All right. So I want you guys, can y'all see that though, by the way? I hope you guys are able to see what I'm circling. That's $307 million. Okay. That's the year 2025. Okay. And then the Amazon money is already into effects right now. So what I'm going to go into the year 2026. This is when Zeke contract fall off. This is also when Dak Prescott, avoidable years and all his stuff fall off of his contract. But watch this. Update. $489 million. $489 million. So remember what I said in stock options. I can't talk today. Stock options. Or when we talking about money in general, there are 3 moves that you can make. 3 moves you can make. And why Trey is putting it down. Hold on, Trey. Keep that number there. Trey, you on Facebook though, so I can't pin your comment. But I can. Somebody, let me do this way. Let me do it this way. Y'all see Trey comment right there, but bear with me. Let me go to the year 2027, and this is going to blow your mind altogether. And I need somebody to do just what Trey just did so I can pin it on the YouTube side. $718 million. The year 2027. So when you are looking into this makeshift salary cap hell thing that everybody believeth, it's not a real thing. It's not. And let me circle it. Because naturally itself is going to jump up. It's going to increase. So by the year 2027, it's $718 million. That is almost literally right around the corner. It is. It's literally less than 4 years, y'all, that this salary cap, remember what I'm saying, they introduced sports betting into the league. The league got $50 billion. Let me repeat, $50 billion just from sports gambling. The league got $111 billion just from the Amazon deal. Okay? And just for kicks, we're going to go to the year 2028. When we go to the year 2028, dog, you might as well round it up to $1 billion. That's going to be the salary cap. So I'm trying to tell y'all, for real, stop worrying about the money. The players would never see this money. The players not going to see that type of growth. So what I'm trying to, and they only getting a fraction of what Amazon, and I didn't even talk to y'all about ESPN, Fox. I didn't talk about those contracts. That all of that money is guaranteed. So when y'all say, and can somebody put all of that money together so I can pin it? Somebody on my YouTube side, that's so I can pin it. If somebody can put all of that money together. So that's why when I tell y'all, there's no such thing as salary cap hell. There's no such thing. It's an imaginary number that the owners are not even giving the players a piece of that. NFL ticket would be on YouTube now. Yes. So when y'all say law, 40 million, look, how many times 40 million can go into 1 billion? You know what I mean? That's peanuts, man. So, and the players union is bought. I ain't gonna call it trash. They being bought, basically. You know, that's why they can't get things going. So we're less than 10 years away. Yeah, less than 10 years away from being $1 billion salary cap. Salary cap hell would be, and let me use this as an analogy. If you have a credit card, and I'm gonna use small numbers, of $20,000 as your credit card limit, and you are spending up to your limit, you're at $19,000, or you over your credit card limit of $21,000. Now the credit card company can literally say, hey, you are over your limit, and they report that to the bureaus, right? You are over your limit. We cannot extend your limit because you are over your limit. You are $21,000. You are $1,500 over your limit. You're $1,500 over your limit if your credit card limit is $20,000. What if you had a credit card I'm going to go over this. What if you had a credit card that every year you get an increase on your credit card, that next year, instead of it being $20,000, your increased credit spending limit becomes $50,000. And then the next season, your credit card spending limit goes to $100,000. That $21,000 that owed, you can literally say, hey, man, I can just weather the storm, right? I can just weather the storm. And when I weather the storm, the next year, I can literally call another credit company. And with my $50,000 or $100,000 now that I got over the spending limit that I got available to, I can have a fourth company to do what they call balance transfer and get me back up under. I can do that until I'm old and gray and get the necessary parts that I need. So what the Cowboys need to do now, and I know it's a long, roundabout way, because a lot of people don't see this, right? They're looking at it like, oh, no, you got to stay within the limit, Law. But you mean to tell me I can swipe my card and my limit is $20,000 and I go just over, there's no penalty? That it's $25,000. It's a $25,000 merchandise that I want to buy. And I got $20,000 on my card. I swipe it, it still don't decline, but it's saying that you are over $5,000. The next year, it's going to hit $50,000 anyway. I can start renegotiation. I can start extending my payments. I can get up under it. And that, my friend, is the salary cap for the NFL. I've literally shown you guys that it will increase. Now, the only time you will be at worries and reservations and have extreme reservation if the league itself began to crumble and fall, right? If what happened, like the pandemic. But even though within the confines of the pandemic, guess what? They still grew. It just wasn't at the rate that they grew at. Now, granted, it could be another see 2021 or something that can happen, right? You know, we don't know the future. So those are things that can obscure the number. But shoot, what are the odds? And I'm not. Here we go. Shout out to you, my guy. Who that? Trending with Trey. Appreciate you. Let me find you right quick. There you go. Bam. Coach Marv, I'm going to read your super chat. Let me read your super chat, though. Coach Marv, I like our offensive line is talented now. Draft a wide receiver. This new offense will help our wide receivers. Let me see if I can read that, then jump back to Trey. Tight end production. FA targets will look like Jordan Power. Okay. I do like him. Free safety. Damon Harris, running back. I think he had legal situations, but I would look into that. Free agent, defensive tackle. No need to draft an O-line early. Well, Coach Marv, I haven't done enough homework yet to say you're right about that. I'm going with BPA all day, but to your thoughts here, you are right. I can't argue against that. That means, Coach Marv, that means that you're going to have to re-sign Connor McGovern. And you're going to have to also, although he's an unrestricted free agent, you're going to have to re-sign Terrence Steele. So are you guys willing to re-sign Connor McGovern? All right, so from Coach Marv theory here, that means that, and I'm trying to go through this as quick as possible because I got a lot of content that I got to go through. And so it's a brilliant point. Coach Marv, it's a brilliant point. So with that thought track there, that means that you're going to roll Tyron Smith again at left tackle. Tyler Smith, you're going to kick back at guard. You're going to figure out a way to re-sign Connor McGovern. Tyler Biadasz is still here. Zach Martin is safe. And then you're going to re-sign Terrence Steele with that piece, with that offensive line. Okay? That's what you're saying. You can just tell me yes or no, Coach, and we can rock with it from here. But let me see if I can pin Trey's comment back up on the screen here. Here we go. So cut Connor McGovern? I don't know, man. Let me tell y'all what Connor McGovern brought to the table last season, man. He only had one penalty, I believe, and he gave up. Let me see. One penalty all season long, and he only allowed 2 sacks. Out of 909 offensive snaps. I'm taking that all the way to the bank. And that one penalty was a bull sugar penalty. Bull sugar at his best against Green Bay. He would have went the whole year. Without allowing a single penalty. I'll figure out a way to bring. He's serviceable. He will be your swing guard. I like what he brings to the table. And technically, he played 3 positions: right guard, left guard, and fullback. I'm figuring out a way to keep Connor McGovern. I'm figuring that out. I'm trying to figure out a way. All right. But just to keep that up there for perspectives, $241 million in 2021. $307 million in 2025, $480 million in 2026, $718 million in 2027. In 2028, $1 billion in salary cap. Now let's get this show on. Let's get this show on the way. Let's go and listen to my guys over here. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. That's me. I can't listen to myself. All right, here we go. Boom.
What do you think about the idea of an extension for Trevon Diggs this offseason? He does have 1 year left as a second-round pick, 4 years, but maybe you want to get things done early, avoid any drama. I could have gone either way on this a couple of weeks ago, gentlemen. But now that his brother, Trevon Diggs, is on the table, I think it's a no-brainer. You give the Diggs family what they want. You send the message to Stephon through Trevon. Cowboys don't mess around with the Diggs family, It's time to get you paid, and it's time to get you guys together. Boom, big money for Trevon. I think you want to influence a possible forced trade out of Buffalo any way you can. And besides that, Trevon's really good. You want a Super Bowl winning type player, Trevon can help you do that. His brother's better at receiver than Trevon is at corner. I don't know if it's that close. I don't think Trevon is elite. But the difference in what you're going to pay him by dragging this thing out for a couple of years is going to be small and not worth the drama, Chief.
Well, I've made my stance clear on this. Trevon Diggs would not be in my plans, but if the end game is to get the other Diggs, that's probably a great starting point. Now, you're going to have to pay him. You don't think he's an elite player, but you're probably going to have to pay him elite money this offseason.
You do. You're going to have to pay him elite money. All right, Mr. Cowboy says, what's up, Law? Wanted to say love your channel, and thanks for all the info, bro. Yes, indeed, man. I love that you love the channel, man, and I appreciate you for your support. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk, man. Real talk all day, baby. This is why you shouldn't worry about the money, ladies and gentlemen. The money gonna make the money itself. Be a little risque. I know the hardest part. This is the hardest part about the salary cap. Will be that you got to stay. You got to get from under it before the year start. According to rulings, hear me out. The real rule is that you're supposed to stay above the salary cap or stay up under the salary cap. That's a better way to say it. Stay up under the salary cap all year long. That's supposed to be the ruling. But that's not how they handle and operate it. The NFL don't handle and operate that ruling. They don't adhere to that ruling. Because if they did, there would have been teams. There would have been teams that would have been hit with those penalties. And let's see, NFL penalties. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find that penalty. Penalties. Hold on. For being over the salary cap. All right, so here's supposed to be the penalty, and I'm going to pull it up so everybody can see. And I really thank y'all, man. Boom. It says penalties for violating or circumventing the cap regulations includes fines up to $5 million for each violation and cancellation of contract and or loss of draft picks, right? And we can go line for line, right? And they must stay over, let me see. They must stay within the salary cap at all times. Let me see if I find it right here. Because I want to show you guys, and they really don't have it. I'll have to dig through it. But take my word for it that they said that they must remain within the salary cap at all times. And I did a whole episode about this before. If that was the case, and if that was the situation, then, and I know over the cap don't have the actual numbers. They only have the speculative numbers or what have you. And let me see if I could do this right quick. If that would be the case, then these teams would be getting fines. Buccaneers, Saints, Vikings, Jags, Titans, Chargers, Bills, Packers, Dolphins, Rams, Browns, Panthers, Cowboys, the Jets. Because through the season, they were over the cap. They were over the cap. And they didn't remain under the cap. So that's what I'm saying, that there's really no true penalty at all. Teams must remain under the cap. Let me see if they're going to show me that. And I have to really dig into it. But you guys just take my word for it, man.
Yeah, I'm prepared to do that around 19 or 20 mil.
Okay.
Not market setting money, not the absolute top, but pretty dang close. And it hurts. I don't think his coverage is that great. We had broken plays. He didn't tackle, but I still think he's definitely one of the best corners in the game.
Does anybody off the top of their head know how old he is?
I mean,
he's
he's got
25.
I was going to say something like 25.
Okay, because the top corners or I'm looking at the ages of the top corners and what they're paid. Jair Alexander is 26. He's making an average of $21 million a year. So it goes like him, Denzel Ward at $20 million, Jalen Ramsey at $20 million, Marlon Humphrey at $19 million. The ages are 26, 29, 27.
Yeah, we're 24 and a half right now.
Yeah.
He would be the youngest guy by far. Yeah. By far. Like, because you're getting some guys like Marshawn Lattimore is at 27. Xavier Howard is 30. Tre'Davious White is 28. Darius Slay's 32. You know, I just stop me when he's better than. Stop me when he's better than. I could mention Alexander.
Probably rather have Jair.
Yeah, Denzel Ward. See, now again, this is unfair because I
Ward's
can't
good.
honestly say I watch a lot of Cleveland Browns.
Hold on, let me poll y'all. Would y'all rather have Jair Alexander or Trevon Diggs? I want to know, man. It's in the chat. Would you rather have Jair Alexander or Trevon Diggs? Ward, I like Ward, Al. I think that Ward, he's not in the big market, so you don't get a chance to see a lot of Cleveland Browns tape. But I would tell you that if you from a certain school, you already let a brother know. Now, Trevon is 24. Alexander is a little older. I'm seeing a lot of Diggs, right? I'm seeing a lot of Diggs. I think that Diggs' ceiling is even higher than Trevon. I think Diggs' ceiling is higher than Jair Alexander. It goes back to that Green Bay game. If Jair Alexander, shout out to him, he's a good DB. Now, y'all know I love my DBs. But have you ever seen a game that Diggs got burnt like Jair Alexander? Or that was just CD Lamb doing CD Lamb stuff? I just need to know, man. Real talk. Real DB talk. Alexander may be better far as because he's been in the league a little bit longer. But have you ever seen a game? Can you name the game that Trevon Diggs got burnt like Zaire Alexander did against us? Now, granted, the Green Bay won. Jeez. Yeah. But who remember that game? God, dog. Every corner do get burnt. Now, I would love to have Zaire and Trevon Diggs on this team. Now, don't get me wrong at the same time. That was just CD being CD, though. Oh, my gosh, man. And Zaire Alexander did shut down Justin Jefferson. Didn't he shut him down? I'm going to have to go back and watch that game. Minnesota versus Green Bay. CD ate up Alexander, though, man. I know Alexander's people like, man, come on, dog. Come on, don't use that one game right there. But Alexander is a dope, man. He's a dope DB, man. He's top. Denzel Ward. Ward, that's where – let me play the rest of this audio.
Haven't seen him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he makes $20 million. Jalen Ramsey.
They passed on Ward's, but Ward, I like Ward. Shoot. I like Ward. But would you rather have Diggs or Jalen Ramsey? I'm looking at y'all comments here, man. This is a good deal. Alexander knows the game better as Cowboy Gumbo. I think so. It's still too soon. Now, this year I think that Diggs can have a more complete season overall right now. He's still building his resume. So y'all saying that you rather have Diggs over Jalen Ramsey. Here's my thoughts on Jalen Ramsey. I still like Jalen Ramsey. I like what he brings to the table. I love his overall concept. He's going to come down the field when he wants to, right? He's a good tackler. And my vision of Jalen Ramsey and Diggs, that those guys can play all the way up until they're 33, 34, because when they get tired of playing DB, you can flip them over to being safeties. Ball skills is ball skills. My only knock on Jalen Ramsey, if you don't have a front that can create pressure, because he's, that'll be a good mixture. One is an in-phase guy, one don't in-phase all the time. So if you have a guy, they got a good front and get pressure, Jalen Ramsey will work wonders for this team. I would be thinking of a world, right? If you can have Ramsey on one side and Diggs on the other, they will complement each other. But at this point, because of the youth, because Jalen Ramsey's getting up there, long in the tooth, give me Diggs for right now. The dude is still, like I said, 23, 24 years of age. Listen to more what they have to say.
Age appears to have
Gina Chase says, who's better, Law, Ramsey or Diggs? Ramsey got a longer resume. So based off a resume, Ramsey is better than Diggs. But Diggs got an unbelievable untapped potentials. So right now, Ramsey is better based off a resume. But there are tangible tape that you can look at and say that, Diggs is not playing up to his full potential. I would like to see, matter of fact, let me take like out of it. I would love to see Ramsey on this defense under Dan Quinn. Because I think that when we look at the prototype of a Richard Sherman, I think Jalen Ramsey is closer to Richard Sherman than Trevon Diggs is closer to Richard Sherman. Trevon Diggs is more of the likes of like a let me see if I can name a DB. He's a better Marcus Peters, in my opinion. He's more of, what's that guy? Other likes. He's closer to a Cromartie. Antonio. Yeah, who remember Cromartie, right? I remember my guy Vach Lombardi, he was talking about the Jets team, and he was talking about nobody really cared about what they was doing over there on Revis Island. I don't see Trevon Diggs being a Revis Island, right? Revis was a different type of dude. He was more of a physical type of DB that had range and coverage skills or what have you. Diggs was more on the Cromartie side, you know. And if you look at what Jalen Ramsey is, I'm not calling him Revis, by the way, but the style that he plays is more physical. Talib, yeah, that's a better comp. Talib is a better comp. Patrick Peterson, no. That's not the comp for Diggs. Cromartie was a lot bigger, though. He was like 6'3". Yeah, you're right, JT. You're right, you know. Diggs do play like he's 6'2", though, 6'1.5". You know, he do play like that. But there's nobody. I don't think that nobody can look at tape and say that Diggs more of the Darrelle Revis type. You know, I don't think that people would say that, right? Let me know if I'm wrong. I think that if you if you had a choice to say how he looks like there on the field, you would say more of a Cromartie. A bigger Marcus Peters, yeah. What about Ed Reed? No. Ed Reed's just different, dog. Gina, yeah, Ed Reed is just different. I think that Diggs is a better ball tracker than Terrence Newman. And I'm not dogging Terrence Newman. I think Terrence Newman, phenomenal. Remember, Terrence Newman didn't come to this team until he was like 26, 27. You know what I mean? Terrence Newman was an old man on his team, man. He was a rookie. You know, the Cowboys, you know, y'all remember that? With the such and such pick. The Dallas Cowboys, because I forgot which round. I know it was the first round, right? Terrence Newman. The Dallas Cowboys select 37-year-old Terrence Newman. How old was Terrence Newman when he got here? Terrence Newman was a dog. You know, I ain't sleeping on him. How old was Terrence Newman when he got here, y'all? He had to be like 37, 36, 37, right? He was an old man, Benjamin Button. His name was Newman, but he was old. Terrence Newman. He was 27 years old. The man had gray hair. He was using dye. He was using Beijing dye before it became popular.
A declining factor for him.
Marlon Humphrey with the Ravens is making $19 million a year. Would you rather have Marlon Humphrey or
it's a tie?
Marshawn Lattimore? See, like to say, Xavier Howard. I mean, White, Slay. It's.
I would take Diggs over White. I would take Diggs now. Shout out to the Eagles for y'all finna be mad. But I would take Diggs over Slay right now. Slay is what? Just for me. Slay is like what? 32? Let me rewind. Let me rewind because I know I've been pausing.
$19 million a year. Would you rather have Marlon Humphrey or?
I think it's a tie.
Marshawn Lattimore. See, like to say, Xavier Howard. I mean, White, Slay. It's. I think it's a hard.
He's
group.
in that group.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a hard group, and it stops where it stops being $20 million is with the third guy. So Alexander Ward and Ramsey are all $20 million players.
Yeah.
Then you get Humphrey, Lattimore, and Howard there's two $19 million players, one $18 million player in Howard, and then you've got a 17 in White. And then you start with 3 16s in a row.
Yeah, so you're
I'm looking for my CB2. Out of that list, if you're not going into the draft, if you don't get a Joey Porter Jr. or somebody like that, or and I've seen somebody said, do you like Elias Ricks or what have you? Do you like these DBs that's coming out of the draft, like the Cam Smith? You would take him, right? You wouldn't bat your eye twice about that. You'd be like, Cam Smith with the 26th pick, if he's the best player available. Y'all be hearing me all day. Cam, oh, Cam. Ringo, I need to see Ringo's numbers on the 3-cone, man. He's a little sweary. Gonzalez, that's a no-brainer too, right? Trade for Lattimore. I will. I would trade for Lattimore, put him on one side, and we'll look at this in a whole different light from there. We got some super chats. Appreciate y'all so much for doing what y'all do, man, over here for the nation. And let me see if I can get to y'all super chats before team free agents price is based on worth to their team, not on something you don't have and cannot get. So what is Diggs worth to Dallas? Wow, Coach Marv. You yeah. Everything. I think Diggs will be worth everything for Dallas. Hear me out. Teams were not throwing the ball Diggs' way. They were picking on Brown. 3rd and Brown. Who remember that? And then when Brown got hurt, then it was open season. Kevin Joseph played a spoonful of snaps and he gave up 4 touchdowns, ladies and gentlemen. We were playing musical chairs. Nashawn Wright, shout out to him. But I like what he does from an aspect of press. But in zone, it seems as if though he can't even cut his hips and get to the spot. And he's and on certain routes in press, if he's missed, his hips just still a little too stiff for me, right? So he don't redirect. If he's not into that mindset, then it's open season, right? Who else we got? Trayvon Mullen. Man, it was burn city burn. And as much as we say about these things, Xavier Howard, that's a long tooth, man. 33, 34 years of age. It was only so much you can squeeze up out of him. Deron Bland, we saw some good DB play out of him, but he played collectively better inside the slot. He got used a little bit. And I was like, hey, that's my dog. Hey, he's still a rookie. So my thing is, I get it. You got a DB that don't tackle the way we want to. But it wasn't as bad as it was on the other side. Can you imagine if you get rid of Diggs and you have 2 Browns on the outside, or you have that chaos going on both sides of the field, the right and left? No, give me the guy that want to tackle occasionally versus man getting burnt, left and right on both sides. So his ceiling is too high. And what Coach Marv's saying is 1,000 truths, man. I would figure out ways, man, to rectify this and get things going the best way possible. And we had another super chat. I'm trying to read them all before we get into the next topic line here. Appreciate you, Coach Marv. I think we already read this one, but appreciate you, Mr. Cowboy. That's a dope name too, by the way. And what team has 2 number 1 wide receivers, 20 million plus wide receivers? That is, I don't think y'all gonna have to help me out with that. I don't see a team that's paying 2 wide receivers 20 million. I don't see that. But unfortunately, the Cowboys are going to have to figure out a way to revisit that if they want it. Now, Coach Marv, I get with what you're saying. We run the ball. We're a better team. If we lean on the fact that Michael Gallup coming off of now another surgery, that he will be better than what he was the previous year coming back from his ACL, you can lean on that, right? But at some point, the Cowboys got 2 options, though, Coach Marv. Either you pay for what you want or you watch someone else do what you want. And those are the 2 options, because we can lean on Simi Fehoko, Jalen Tolbert, Noah Brown, and let's run it back. We was 12-5 this last season. Let's see if we can do that again. Or we can go into this draft, of course, draft somebody. But where are you going to draft that? Are you going to go early with the 26th pick, or you can go in the 2nd round or 3rd round? Those are things that you have to look at. It's difficult, man. Look, Coach Marv, that is this is another underrated super chat because it's difficult, bro. It is flat out difficult. Oh man, that's why I would have held on to Amari Cooper, and you still had a year and a such for CeeDee Lamb to go through. But I feel you, Coach Marv. I have no explanation for that. Or no other reasonings for that. Eastside Harold says, Law Nation, tell us what you think about Bryce Young. Dog. And he need to go into the right environment in order to excel his talent. And he's a dog. If you guys have a chance to draft him, draft him. That's all I can tell him. Tell you about it. I ain't going to hate on the man. Mark Clark, appreciate you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for your support. Delta says, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm vibing outside with my pups and listening to my dog. Law, teach. Couldn't be better. Signed Bradbury, trade for Mike Thomas. Bradbury, you get him on a 1-year rental if you do anything of that nature. But the trade ideology, who's going to take on that contract for Michael Thomas? I think that his contract is $54 million against the cap, and they're going to try to get up under that. So and what you'll be willing to give up for Michael Thomas. In these last 3 years, Michael Gallup been better than Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has only been good as his name on paper. So I would stay far away from him. If I'm going to get a veteran guy, it will have to be in the likes of even D-Hop or even Odell Beckham. But I would try to stretch those contracts out so that you can absorb some of the money. Remember, you can extend. Y'all seen what Trey put out there now, Let's go down to another. Appreciate y'all, man. Got another super chat. OG Law, thank you for all that you do for us in Cowboy Nation. Today is my son birthday, who passed in 2007. Oh, my gosh. You and Boss Cowboy in the chat give me hope on this depressed day. Absent from the body is present with the Lord. Common sense. And your son been that extra pair of eyes for you, watching and going over the things that you do for good. So even though your son is not here, he's here. Believe it or not. So condolences out to you and your family. But like they say, old folks say, this too shall pass. And that's how it will go from here, man. And we pray that you have a blessed and beautiful day. I know times can be hard, right? We all go through a lot. We do. So what I need for you guys to do is put the prayer emojis down for my guy, Common Sense Lab. And I'm glad that I can be an outlet for you all. For real, my deepest condolences. Bob Heck says, I'm drafting a wide receiver and a cornerback in the first and the second round, or vice versa. Yeah. I feel you with that. BPA is where I'm going, and whoever the best player available, I know that's kind of cliche to say, but I'm going BPA all day. Yes, indeed. Let's listen to more what they have to say. For real. Yeah, let's go. I really appreciate you. Common sense, man. You on my mind all day today, man. You got me on my. I'm on your mind, or you on my mind. That's a better way to say it. Yeah, appreciate you.
Paying him about 20. You're probably paying him $20 million a year, and then you're going to pay Micah and CeeDee Lamb. Like, those are the three big money deals that are on the horizon here. And do you guys have an order there? I think we'd all go Micah 1, and then it would probably be a coin flip on Lamb Diggs. Not for me. I'd go Lamb 2, Diggs 3.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would start the Diggs one as quickly as I can. You know why? I think he's going to be the hardest one to do.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to play as nice during negotiations kind of thing?
I don't think he is.
He's going for every last cent?
I would say this one is going to get maybe a little nasty. And I say that just not because I've heard anything from anybody or anything like that. I just kind of feel like that there is going to be a certain chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That with, you've got the extra year. We talked about they need to stagger these contracts so they don't keep coming up at the same time. You got the 5th year on Lamb. You're fine. You can take care of that. I'm starting on this Diggs one. If you're going to do it, start on it now.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to get harder with him, I believe.
I think no doubt. So with that being said, when you look into contracts, what the Cowboys can't do, because like I said, there's no such thing as salary cap hell, but you do still have that cap, right? So what happened here, you got to be wise with your contract negotiation. Contracts, literally, at the end of life, they are higher because you got to go through all of the rigmarole to put different clauses into the contract, and you got to, the price of the bag is higher because the expectation from now said player is looking at it as it relates to the entire NFL, juxtaposed to just one team. And that's just how it goes, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. So when I think of those type of things, and I tell you guys, man, true and true, we've been through this before. The way they negotiate contracts, it's been a philosophy and a principle with the Dallas Cowboys on waiting to the end of life contract, which could be very, very damaging for the organizations. Let me see if I can pull this around. This was on the Pivot podcast. Let me see if I can play this.
All my obligations are done. And so I get into restricted free agency. Right. I got 30 days to negotiate with 20-some-odd teams to come play with them. And not one gave me a contract. Gave me an offer.
Did you have any conversations with them?
Man, I picked up the phone and called Don Shula myself and told him I wanted to come to Miami and play for Miami. Because I knew Dan Marino didn't have a running game.
Right. Yep.
And I wanted to come.
Crazy.
And I said, I want to go back. I want to help you, help Dan, and whatever, get a championship, bring me back to the state of Florida.
Right.
He said, well, I don't know if I can make that offer. I said, because if I do make this offer and you don't come, all my other players were seeing what I put on the table for you, and it's going to mess up my chemistry.
Right.
I'm going to just put something on the table that Jerry cannot refuse.
A philosophy is a philosophy. The Jones family been stuck on that philosophy since day one. We just had the talent level. We had the talent level to overcome it. So not everybody goes through this. This is the core of the philosophy of the Jones family, waiting to the end of life, allowing Emmett. And, free agency was still new at the time. No one caught wind on how they were handling those type of things, you see. So, and that was Emmett on the Pivot podcast. Shout out to them, doing an unbelievable job with Access and Beyond. So, Jessica said, I told y'all, it's a cultural way. That's one of the greatest running backs of all time, ladies and gentlemen. So we've been handling contracts badly from the beginning of time. And that literally could have been the precipice right there. That could have been the original belief. Did we win those 2 games, by the way? Did we win those 2 games? No, we didn't. So when Emmett held out, because he was still negotiating his contract. He was trying to get his money, So those are things that we all got to consider. Those are things that we all got to digest. So the Cowboys, it would have been better for the Cowboys to extend him earlier, right? But they let him, and they were so stubborn. They were so in their way that we lost those 2 games. We lost those 2 games. So think about what we're missing and what we're losing collectively. Kelvin Turk Edwards, appreciate you, my dog. He said, Law Nation for President, 2024, Mississippi, stand up. I would like to see you in the Cowboys draft TCU Max Duggan as the backup quarterback. I seen some mocks where he was going in the 6th and the 7th round or what have you. That could be a situation for the Cowboys to look into Max. They talk about players that they really like. I remember that they was talking glowingly of another player. I think by them talking so much, I think another team jumped them, and I think that team was the bear with me, the Patriots. They brought that quarterback in. I forgot his name, who had like 1 or 2 games similar to Brock Purdy. Y'all remember that? Let me know if y'all remember that. And those are things that the Cowboys tend to do. They tend to talk a little too much. And when you are mom and pops, you tend to do that because there's no repercussions, right? There's nobody that can really sit you down and say, all right, cool. These are the things that you need to say. These are the things that we don't want you to say. Let me see if I got another audio clip from them. Let's play this one right quick.
Right. Free agency was so different then because it was fresh and new. And so to everybody, it's like, oh, Emmitt Smith held out. And because they went 0-2, everybody knew, all right, hold on. We realize Emmitt is the glue to everything we do. We got to get this done. But it does give it kind of.
Hold on. We already knew that in the 90s. We already knew that. We knew that Emmitt was the glue to get things done. The front office didn't. And that was in the 90s. Let me know. Let me know if y'all already knew that Emmitt, sure, you needed him. We needed Emmitt. We knew that. We knew that the quarterback was 1-15 without him. Who knew that? Like, we knew that already. And if the Jones family didn't know that then. But see, a third of y'all don't remember that. I do. Let's listen to what he had to say. Let's finish this up.
A different perception where you're saying, oh, I was just negotiating to get my money.
That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
I was negotiating to come back to play at a reasonable rate. And I still think I came in under what I was really shooting for.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you lose the first 2 games, you see your teammates, man, and it's killing me at home. I mean, our first game against the Skins at the time.
Washington. Yeah, Washington.
I'm sitting at home on a Monday night with my parents back in Pensacola watching this game. And we lose to the Skins, and I'm watching Derek Lassie do the best he can.
You doing it.
And things just look crazy. And I'm mad because I can't stand them. Can't stand the Washington team. And that's the team I want.
Y'all get what I'm saying now, baby. Ooh, let me hurry up and get this show going, man. All right, let me finish this out, man. Let's go.
I think it's really hard to determine the exact.
So before they go into this, I just wanted to say this once again. It's nothing new under the sun. And by chance, talent on this team in the 90s had to overcome not just coaching, but they had to overcome front office. And I'm not dogging front office. I'm not beating them up. But what I'm saying is that those are the truths of it. And it's hard for us to digest it as fans because we look at this team and say, hey, we're so successful. Right? And so many people, write this down. Success is failure turned inside out. Right? In order for you to turn it inside out, baby, you better have some people being able to be smart on coaching and evaluating talent and getting these boys to the right direction.
value because he's not the best corner in the game. He's never going to be a candidate to be an All-Pro again unless he gets like 8 or 9 picks. I think this year the team could say, look, you didn't get a lot of targets. You could have given up a lot more yards, but our other corner was so bad, they just kept attacking him the last 5 games of the regular season. So I definitely think there's some weakness to it, but you don't find perfect corners. Like maybe Sauce Gardner is going to be the next perfect corner and he'll be there for 3 or 4 years. You had Patrick Peterson at the height of his powers. You had Richard Sherman. You had Revis. But these guys are so rare, and Diggs is definitely a $20 million guy. You know, a lot of different angles on this conversation. The morning news story points out that his quiet nature makes him a recluse in the locker room, which I'm fine with. But some teams want leadership qualities. If they're going to give you the big money, they want to know that you're a leader as well. For me, I'm okay if you're just awesome.
We heard this storyline before. Amari Cooper, his quiet nature makes him a recluse in the locker room. Verbatim, you know. And when you're quiet, it's hard for you to gauge that person, right? You know. It don't remove all doubts, you know. What's the saying? It's better to be quiet and be considered a fool than to open your mouth to remove all doubts of it, right? But in Diggs' case, you know, talk is silver, silence is gold. Write that one down. And I don't want the Cowboys, just because you pay a player, that you want this guy to be boisterous. You want this guy to spit and talk noise. No, they get him up out of his element. I would rather have somebody locked in and loaded from the mindset to say, hey, these are the things that I need to accomplish. You give me my bag. Hey, my bag is my bag. But only in Cowboys land, whereas people think that the money that you pay a player supposed to elevate the player. You know, no, the player is still the player. I listen to more what they have to say.
And you're kind of quiet. That's not that big of a negative to me. And then Gelkin talks about how this team has to be careful because evaluating their own guys has been tough. Yeah. In 2019, Zeke, Lyle Collins, Jalen Smith, none of those worked out well.
Yeah.
None of those within a short period of time were you excited about. So as the front office, you got to be like, guys, what could we be missing here? You know, is there any way we're going to regret Trevon Diggs if you sign him long term? I think we've seen enough good football.
Here's my thoughts. I would literally reach out to Trevon Diggs. I would give that man a long contract. That's my whole thoughts with this. Pay this man ASAP. Give him a long contract. Give him the first time ever a 6-year contract for a DB. And bet on that. Because here's the thing. He's 24. Dude just learned how to play defensive back. He wasn't even playing it for a good full seasons even in college, right? By the time he's 30, you could always go back in. By the time he's 30, we'll be at $1 billion of salary cap space. His contract will be old news. And you don't lose those type of skills of tracking the ball, following the ball. You know, you don't lose those type of instincts. Give that man a long-term contract. DB's lifespan is one of the longest lifespans in the National Football League. Right? If you got little ones and you want them to play football, have them to play safety or DB if they can't play quarterback. All right. Don't let them be running backs though. You know, running backs, 2-3 years, average lifespan of a running back is 3 years. Give that man give him a long contract enough so you can underwrite it and write up under it and bring his brother in for a combo if you want to do such. Get crafty with that particular style of writing contracts. I presented the case when I first started this stream about how the cap is going to increase when all of those money kick in. Now, to his side of the table, he may be looking at it greedy. He may be looking at it like, nah, man, I want a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract. But for right now, before he play a down in 2023, you got him right where you want him at right now. And you present that to the table. Make sure you have your escape clauses. And I don't think that he would give you a situation to tell you no. The Cowboys had a chance and an opportunity to do that with Dak, too. But what they did was they waited. Greedy. They said, okay, let me take pieces away. Let's see if you can do it without a Dez Bryant. Let's see if you can do it without a tight end. Remember, before there was wide receiver by committee, they went with tight end by committee. Remember that? They didn't find no replacement just like that for Jason Witten. They went into that year wide receiver by committee and tight end by committee in 2018. Our biggest problem in 2019, they brought Jason Witten back and left his hairpiece at ESPN. You can't do that. But what I'm saying, no shade at Jason Witten, man. But you can't do that. You got to think, okay, all right. If they would approach even Dak Prescott at the time when it was like 26, 28 million, hey, man, we got you tied up for a long-term contract. You know, he wouldn't even got a chance to talk about 40 million. You know what I mean? If you put that money in his face. But when you allow these players to go into this year, if you allow Trevon Diggs to go into this season, what are the chances of Trevon Diggs falling off the face of the map in 2023? Very slim. Be a little risque. But the chances are, even if he had the same season that he had this past season, which people can say he improved, right? Team shied away from him. Then, of course, it's going to be north of what Denzel Ward got. Denzel Ward contract is dated now. Give that man before, and it will show the initiative that you are aggressively wanting this guy. It won't paint the picture like, hey, we having reservations. Right? We having our doubts. And the ladies can agree with that, right? You've been dating a man 3 or 4 years, and he haven't got down on knee and said, hey, baby, will you marry me? Now, that fella got reservations. He's looking for a better deal. And all if he can give you is a promissory ring, which is a franchise tag. Y'all too grown for that. Now you're going to be looking at him with resentment, right? Who received the plastic rose yesterday? The ladies don't want to broadcast that. Oh, he gave me plastic flowers. No, they want real flowers. Let me know, ladies. He gave me some plastic flowers, some boom foam. He couldn't get no good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want some real stuff. It's not the fact that the flower was gonna die, but it's also the thought that he took his time to pick out the flower, smell the flower. The coloring of the flower mean everything too, right? So protect your own, reserve your own, and in return, you will get some good stuff. If you know what I mean, I'm gonna keep it PG-13. But you know what I mean though, right? Boss Mania says I gave her both. You gave her the plastic in. You gave her the plastic and the real flower. Shout out to you, man. You a smooth operator. I ain't talking about you, man. You the smooth operator. But y'all get with what I'm saying, right, fellas? It's the same thing.
This isn't a guy like Lyle Collins who's maybe unfocused in the offseason. This isn't a guy like Zeke who just plays a position that's tough to age well in. This isn't Jalen Smith who was, playing with a significant handicap, we're good with Trevon Diggs, right? For the life of his deal, he'll play about as well as he has the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Jeffrey said he gave Bad Dog 2020 and a 6-pack of tacos. That certain ladies you can do that with, right? If you got that style. Matter of fact, Mad Dog 2020 and some tacos, that is a doggone good date night. It's depending on how you gave it to her, though. You know what I mean? It's just depending on how smooth you are. You know what I'm saying? For her to take that. But I get with what you're saying, right? I don't want flowers, Law. This is from Press Ham talking. You're a fella, though, right? You shouldn't want the flower, right? We're talking about the ladies. But I get with what you say, Press Ham. You know what I'm saying? Talk. But I appreciate you.
Because he doesn't play overly physical, so he's not going to have much wear and tear. And I think you see a little bit of that with Jalen Ramsey right now. Jalen Ramsey was a guy that would come up and smack you a little bit. And maybe he's now aging a little bit more poorly than he would like. And so that's something to consider. And Trevon Diggs, 24, 25 years old, barely been playing the position. So, and we've talked about this for a couple of years now with him now, but you would think he's still ascending a little bit, still kind of learning the position.
Sure.
Relative to what most of these guys that you just rattled off, all those top paid corner probably been playing
Alexander,
the position
Ward,
for 20
Ramsey,
years.
Humphrey, Lattimore,
They've all been playing.
He
that
wasn't
for a long time.
tackling in his youth when you would learn how to tackle. You know,
He's a wide receiver.
I would make that a big point in the negotiations as well, though. I kind of get you making business decisions as a second-round pick, making $2 million a year or something like that. Now that we're giving you all this, can we get the tackling? Is that coming along with it? Was this an idea that you had that you didn't want to get hurt? Because once you make that kind of a financial commitment, we kind of need you to be all in.
Well,
Yeah. Now the problem with that, ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways you can look at that. Sometimes players on a contract year, they go balls out, they go crazy, they tackling, they shooting through gaps, they trying to get that payment, and you looking at it like, man, dog, where that player been all of those years? Or they give you the Xavier Woods type of season when they worried about every play. They worried about if they go shoot through, if they playing four side and it's time for them to come down the field. They say, shoot, man, I can't give you that 100% of the time. I can give you 25% of the time, maybe 60, 25, 60. There's some people like that, dog, for real. Shoot. But there are some times when you look at it and you go ahead and pay that person, then they will say, okay, this person believeth in me and I believe it in them. Let's get out here and make it happen. But when you start saying, I don't know, man, I don't know if this person's all in on me, man. I don't know if this person believe in me a little bit. I got to somehow survive and play this year with caution because I'm at the end of life of my contract. I'm telling my Swedes that, shoot, we got to start looking for houses outside of the Dallas market. I got to tell my kids, my little ones, that they going to have to kiss their friends goodbye because we don't know. Right? It's so many things that goes into details with this. And I'm not saying that just because they are on a team that you got to pay everybody the long-term contracts or what have you, but you got to calculate it well enough. There should have been no reason Donovan Wilson played to the end of life of his contract. You should have did your evaluation and knew what type of player you had out of Donovan Wilson before we got to this point. The same could be said with Tristan Hill. When you did your proper evaluation of Tristan Hill, you should already knew who he is and what he can bring to the table. And there should have been no reason to cut a 5th-round draft pick that you drafted last year that you said is valuable to you, to put him on the practice squad and to have another team to scoop up him. And you can't get him back, and that's Jonathan Ridgeway, right? You knew who Tristan Hill was if you properly evaluated your team. You could have said, hey, we like you, Tristan. We didn't get enough out of you. We're going to allow you to test the market. We're going to elevate and evaluate Ridgeway at this point. Kumbaya. Tristan Hill. And if you clear waivers, we will put you on the practice squad. You still going through the evaluation process. For Ridgeway now. Your time in the sun is over with. And the same could be said with this philosophy. Remember, I'm talking about philosophy and your way of thinking. Because these are things that I can pull back and say the same thing with Chris Canty. The same thing with Martellus Bennett. You see, I got history on my side. Historical data that can support what I'm saying. We bring guys in and don't get the full evaluation for the nation, and they go to other teams. Tre'Davious Ward, right? He would be beneficial to this team. And I know people can say, hey, that's a third of the NFL, Law. Everybody can be doing that, right? But when I look back at everything, we don't know who Simi is right now. Why? He haven't seen the field long enough for us to get true, proper evaluation. We don't know who Jalen Tolbert is. Granted, I give him a mulligan for last season. Izzy, the same thing. We saw a little spurts on him, and then we put him back on the bench. So for this year, 2023, dog it, come hell and high water, we need to see Izzy out there on the field. Why? He was a draft pick in the earlier of the rounds, I think 4th or 5th, right? Or 4th round. The same could be said, and I could be off on this round, by the way. But y'all get what I'm saying. We wasted Jabril Cox. We don't know what he can do. So this year will literally be a rookie year for him. We still don't know who Jabril Cox is. He's been here for 2 seasons now. You see how fast time goes? We still don't know who Kelvin Joseph is. We know he's a hell of a special team player, but when he was out there, he got yanked because he wet the bed. He gave up 4 touchdowns. Seemed like in 4 snaps. We don't know who he is. And that was a high draft pick. Izzy was a 7th round. Appreciate the true believer. Thank you. But we still don't know who he is. I guess Bland was better. Bland got more playing snaps than him. And we had a super chat from Coach Marv. Let me see if I can find it, though, Coach. Appreciate you for your support. If I can find it. Or was that an old super chat? Let me see. Law, at that year 2, the only extension price you could have signed Dak to would have been a 36 to a 38 million, nothing less at that time. You're talking about that would be 2017, right? 2018, right? Because you can extend on year 3, right? Now, of course, you could be reading some stipulations that they had. It could have been some type of stipulations, but I think that would have been a bargain deal even there, right? I think that number could be off there, Coach Marv, because at the time, at the open of 2019, the Colts leaked out that they would be willing to give Dak Prescott $35 million, and people were losing their mind. People were losing their mind, saying, no, he ain't worth 35. And then he played those first 4 games, and the price of the bag went up. Then at the end of that year, he got, franchise tagged again, right? But I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, though, Coach Marv. All right, let's go. Let's finish this off, man.
Problem is, when you make that financial commitment, he's got you over a barrel.
Sure. Yeah, now he can miss and avoid and do whatever he wants.
Listen, you pay me to cover. You don't pay me to tackle.
I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, he did get tagged. Yes, Sam, he did. He got tagged, but you should have reached that agreement before 2019. We're talking about Dak Prescott. So he played 2019 all the way through that year on his still rookies contract, and then they introduced the franchise tag at the end of that year. And then from the franchise tag at the end of that year, he didn't get paid his money to 2020. which was totaling up $40 million. But that's the story of another day. Cowboys went to bed on that contract altogether.
Like Dion said at the Hall of Fame, I tackled all my mom's bills.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. I would say when it comes to self-scouting, the terrifying reality is the Cowboys are about to give the franchise tag to Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about this, and it's like, are the Cowboys learning from their past? They're about to give huge money, double digits of millions to a running back again. So,
well, if they move on from Zeke, then it shouldn't be a problem, right?
No, it still is.
It
still is a problem. We just talked about yesterday, every Super Bowl champion over the last decade's paying $1 million or less, pretty much, a max $2 million for their running back, and you're going to go pay 10 to one who's coming off an injury.
Well, you got guys like Emmitt Smith coming out, though. Did you hear what he said about this whole thing about running backs?
What did he say?
He said it's a marketing ploy behind it to convince everybody that the position is not as valuable as it should be or it once used to be. It's a shame. They're reducing the value of running backs and pushing them out to wide receivers and cornerbacks and the quarterbacks. And this is all about fantasy football and the points that you gain in fantasy football, period.
Well,
running backs typically, the stats say the average lifespan is 3 years. Now, if you are an elite running back or above average running back, you can squeeze it to 5 to 6 years before law of diminishing rates of return introduce itself. Why? Because you play in a sport that quick twitches, quick speed, getting off to the edge is necessary. You're playing in a modern day sport now that you got linebackers running sub 4.40s, bigger, 240 pounds to 260 to 70 pounds. The days of the old when you were allowed to develop offensive linemen, have two-a-days, and have perfect blocking and things like that is gone. The day of the fullback taking on some of those blows are gone. Those days are over with. So the running back transition between college to the pros is easier than defensive back from defensive back in college to pros. That's just the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen. See hole, hit hole. Understand leverage, get there. So my thing is, to a degree, with whatever Emmett is about to say, we're talking about devaluing, he's off with it. You know what I mean? And that's Hall of Fame gold jacket. Because living proof is right there in the Super Bowl. What's that guy name? Piheco. What's his name? Piheco? Pistachio? Whatever. He wasn't even their starting running back, right? He wasn't their high drafted running back. Look, we can go all the way back to TD, Terrell Davis. When was Terrell Davis drafted, right? Running backs, man, can fool around and get into a system and go off. Isaiah Pacheco, shout out to you, Jared. Yeah, so Pacheco, appreciate you. Pacheco, Isaiah, no disrespect to that man's name. But he wasn't the running back that was drafted to be in that spot, right? Elijah Mitchell, and this goes all the way back to scheme too. Just last season, the 49ers had a guy named Elijah Mitchell, right? Doing all type of crazy things. And what round was Terrell Davis drafted, or was he undrafted? Well, Terrell Davis drafted or undrafted? I keep forgetting because I think that he was a 7th round draft pick or he was undrafted. And look what he was able to do in Denver back in those days, almost over 20 years ago, for John Elway. Well over 20 years ago now, yeah. So devaluing a running back, been doing that ever since. But I'll be foolish to say that, hey, the Ezekiel Elliott's, even Todd Gurley for a cup of coffees, the time that they came into the league, hey, they phenomenal. Saquon Barkley, phenomenal.
Crusty and a former running back, so I'm not going to dislike him for that opinion.
Right.
He's just dead balls on wrong. The running game is important. The
game
individual
is,
running back, unfortunately, isn't, because they're so interchangeable. They're fungible. Running backs are fungible.
Who do you feel better about as a player?
Oh, okay, that was the end of that. Let me share this link to you guys and for you guys. Adrian Peterson, you can count those running backs all on one hand all on two hands within the last 15 years, right? That, hey, man, and I'm not throwing any shade at what we did with Ezekiel Elliott. Shout out to Zeke and was his Arsenal, his manager, Rocky Arsenal and his managers, and going and understanding, hey, let's go get that bag. Let's go get that money. And they did just that. I don't blame a player for, going to get that bag, right, and getting that money. But running backs, I'm not going to say they come a dime a dozen, but what I'm saying is that running backs, if you're into a right system and scheme, shoot, you will be literally nice, But running backs, they do come and go. 1 year you be like, man, that running back phenomenal. Then when they gone, dog. Yeah. Think about this. What's that dude? I don't even think nobody mentioned him now. Remember the Colts had that dude? Was it Marlon Mack? What was his name? Disappeared. Now they got Jonathan Taylor. Return of the Mac. It was in 2018. That dude running all over us, man. Where he at now? What team he play on now? Right? Eastside. Remember your running back? Eastside Harold. You still watching? What was your running back name over there? Gave us all type of fits when he was running. Right? I can't even think of that name. I can't think of his name. He was the guy that said the NFL is scripted now. What's that guy's name? He was good. Shoot. Marlon Mack killed us in 2018. Yup. Todd Gurley is another example. Yeah. Aaron Foster. Man, that dude was good, man. I like, woo! Aaron Foster, he killed us, man, when we played against him. Matt Forte, you know what I'm saying? All of those boys. So running backs, they'll be, like I said, y'all look it up. Somebody gonna be like, hey, Law was right, man. Shoot. Running backs 3 to 4 years. Now, if they're elite, then sometimes you can see them over that time frame. And I think that this is a direct reflection of the NFL is at its all-time height as it relates to skilled players and the ability to do things, and the linebackers and the safeties being so much bigger and faster now. Since you guys want to say that, you know. All right, so that's just what it is, y'all. So, but running backs are very lovable too, depending on their personalities and things like that. Shoot, I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all switch positions, man, don't play running back. Go ahead, I would prefer you to be a linebacker than a running back at this point. I would prefer you to be a linebacker versus a running back if you can, if you have the right height and what have you. Somebody like, nah, man, I'm going to be a running back. Yeah. Yes, indeed, man. I appreciate y'all so much for this episode. We'll open up the lines tomorrow. Don't forget, tonight, me and AB, Ashley Baker, not Anthony Brown, will be live, tonight. So Ashley Baker, we're going to jump live tonight, and we may have an open panel, open Q&A, and things like that for all of you all. But I thank y'all who gave donations. I thank y'all for subscribing, sharing, and helping me get to 100,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys so much. And we're going to have a big party when you guys get me there too. And let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's continue to grind, shine, baby. But running the ball is very, very important. It is. And I'm not discounting nothing with that. Can we find another Tony Pollard? Could be a yes or maybe. I look at it now. Real talk. Running backs, and this is no shade at running backs, are probably good all the way up until their second contract. If it's getting down to their third contract, so the NFL need to reconsider the salary cap structures, right? Maybe they could have a salary cap only for the quarterbacks, right? Because they're getting all of the credit when you win, all of the blame when you lose. So why not have a structure of this is the cap for the quarterback and this is the cap for all of the other players on the team, you know? Or figure out different variations of cap for different skill sets. Since that thing finna be $1 billion anyhow, right? Jay Lombardi said, plain and simple, running backs just don't last long. Easier to replace too. Right. There's only a few Emmets out there. Right. And I remember Emmett being out here for so long, people were saying, put Troy Hambrick in. Troy Hambrick. Who remember that? Y'all was crucifying Emmett. He can't hit the hole no more, Lord. It's a dangerous world, man. It's a cold world we live in. Unless you're Frank Gore. Frank Gore was blessed to get into some good systems too, though. But it is how it is, man. To be here long enough to become the villain. If I offended anyone today, charge it to my head, not my heart. Write these things down, though. If you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep, if all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough, but you don't get tired, and it makes you hold all of the things tawdry and cheap, if life itself seems empty and useless without it, and all that you scheme and dream is about it, if you will gladly go out there and sweat for it, fret for it, and plan for it, and lose all terror of your mind, if you would simply go after the thing you want with all of your capacity, strength, and scarcity, with faith, hope, and confidence and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty or famish of fame can turn you away from the thing you want, if dogged and grim and besiege and beset it, with the help of Almighty, you will get it. I told you guys the cheat code to it. Get a player that you like, extend him, fluff it out, put voidable years at the end of the contract. Get a player, extend him, put voidable years at the end of the contract, and keep kicking the can down the road. You can avoid all of that salary cap mess. Those are the reality. TC on the drums. Appreciate the content, baby. Appreciate you, chat, and community platform, and anything else and beyond. Let me check in on the Eagles one more time, dog. Hold on. Let me check in on those Eagles one more time, man. Eagles! I forgot to be petty just for one more time. Hold on. Turn my music off. Mods, let me know how I Am Awake RU is doing right now. Let's do a check on him because he's the new mod over there. And let me know if he's mod abusing, because I heard a lot of people say that he was mod. Some people are mod abuse, you know. So don't mod abuse now. And I got something right here. You know, do y'all recognize this guy right here? Do y'all recognize this guy? That is Cat Williams. Not Cat Williams. What's his name? Kevin Hart. I said Cat Williams. Kevin Hart. They both short. Kevin Hart. Most Eagle fans switch sides, which explain why they love to talk Cowboys. Look at Kevin Hart, for example. He is a front runner and for sure bandwagon Eagles fan, because my guy right here he was spitting some stuff saying, I want to call troops on the offseason. Please produce the following documents. Cowboys Nation, the ones who were trolling me, please pass this around. So he was talking about the documents of if you really a Cowboy fan in the 90s and you seen the Super Bowl, etc. I ain't going to play the audio. Y'all just got to take my word for it. That can you produce you in a Cowboys gear, you in Cowboys, clothing, merch or what have you, or some type of Polaroid or something like that. You see, we were poor. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have cameras when I was growing up and stuff like that. We didn't even have cable TV. But I know for sure that this dude right here is Kevin Hart. So I know he was talking to Jay Tuck and my guy Cowboys Fan Talk, but as a brethren within the Cowboys community, I'm going to protect my guys just a little bit over here. You see, a third of the Eagles fans were once Cowboy fans. And this prove it right here. Look, Kevin Hart. Look at Kevin Hart. Don't they say Cowboys right there? That ain't Photoshop, y'all. Let's go, baby. And let me get on up out of here. Let's shoot all of that down. Let's shoot it all down. Let's run it up, baby. Yeah, Kobe wasn't really an Eagles fan. Yeah, I feel you, Jay Lombardi. Yeah, see? Look at Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart. He got, look, he got a championship shirt, right? Meaning that he was rooting for the Cowboys. He was a champion with the Cowboys before he understood the Eagles being a champion in 2017. Or 18, whatever they won. I think it was 17, right? Let's go, Cowboy Nation. And roll credits, baby. Charge it to the game.
I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Rabbit now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides up for the bag, and that's worth more to me.
Coach Mar, Mr. Cowboy, Eastside Harold, Mark Clark, Delta, appreciate you. Common Sense Lab, condolences out to you. And shout out to you too, by the way, for sharing that story. Not many can do that. Jared Thomas brought up a real good point. He says, Jay Lombardi, I'm torn, bro. Was he really then a fan of the Dallas or Philadelphia? I think that he's really. Let me go back over here. That's a good point there. That's a good point while I'm on my way out. That means really he's a Dallas Cowboy fan who switched sides over to the Eagles, right? So there's resentment with that. And the honest truth is that when you are a front runner, right? And since the Eagles in the last 30 years, they've been to Super Bowls or what have you. They 1-3 in the Super Bowl, right? Technically, he just switched sides. So he's a fickle Cowboy fan, right? He's a fickle Cowboy fan that's now perpetrating as an Eagles fan. That is who Kevin Hart is, based off like if somebody give me some analysis to help me out. So if it's kind of like if that's just what he is, right? I mean, there's no other way, Like there's no other way. It's just what he is. Or he can say, well, I didn't know no better, But he looks like he was old enough in his picture to know better, right? So he, at one point, rooted for the Cowboys, supported the Cowboys, probably talked smack in Kevin Hart's voice about the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? And then when they fell off and they started losing I think the 5-11 season, he's not a diehard Cowboy fan. He's more of a soft Cowboy fan. So he said, you know what, let me take this shirt up off and let me just root for the team that's in my city, right? Right? That's the best way we can do that, right? Yeah. So Noble said, yeah. So that would be even more of a proof. So if he's from Philly, and I think that whoever watched this documentary, boy, we're doing some analysis on this. Whoever watched the documentary, I believe that he was in Philly when he had this on, right? So that means that, he's I think I'm a little bit older than Kevin Hart too. So it is what it is. So and shout out to him. He's a very successful guy, but he was a Cowboy fan first. Unless he can prove that he had like a Eagles jacket, starter jacket, hat, and what have you prior to this, and he was just wearing that shirt because somebody left it over at his house, and he was just broke, busted, and disgusted, and whatever the Salvation Army he can find, then that would be a whole another situation. But I don't think that was the situation, right? Yeah, I think that he was a fan of the Cowboys. Look, I like a woman in heels, but I don't wear heels, right? So, granted, that's the best analogy, right? We like to see ladies in heels, but we ain't going to put them on, right? So technically, he's a Cowboy fan. Let's get on up out of here. Somebody going to say, hey, that's a good analogy there, though. Right? You got good taste, yeah. Yeah, he might have lost the bet, huh? Now, that's a good defense. And his defense, I lost the bet on that picture because it's a picture. Picture says 1,000 words. Yep.
Take a drag of my cigarette, breathe me out, breathe you in. Yeah. Take a bite of my burger, babe.
Yep. So if he's 43, he should know better, right? Tony. So he's born in like 78. Yeah.
You know it's dangerous to go alone. Don't let the street.
Well, at least Kevin Hart was able to see his Cowboys win 3 Super Bowls. And he saw his Eagles win 1. And another one. Oh, no. Quentin Warner. He said he loved Diggs, but he's not a Lattimore. 2 different type of DB. But what I will say, Diggs and Lattimore on the same team, woo! I would love that to happen, man. Jerry, let's make that one happen. Play a tune.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, play a tune. Come on now, come on, man. If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on.
what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
Like, this motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
God damn!
You have to be your biggest fan.